The story of Lyle and ERIK Menendez are American brothers who were convicted in 1996 for the murders of their parents, Jose and Mary Louie Kitty Menendez. Jose Enrique Menendez was born on May 6, 1944, in Havana, Cuba. At age 16, shortly after the end of the Cuban Revolution, he moved to the United States. Jose attended Southern Illinois University, where he met Mary Louie Kitty Anderson. They were married in 1963 and moved to New York City, where Jose earned an accounting degree from Queens College. The couple's firstborn, Joseph LYLE, who goes by his middle name, was born on January 10, 1968, in New York. Kitty had to quit her teaching job after Lyle was born, and the family moved to New Jersey, where Erik Galen was born on November 27, 1970, 2 years later, in Gloucester Township. The family lived in Hopewell Township, and both brothers attended Princeton Day School. In mid-1976, Lyle and Erik's cousin, Diane van der Molen, came to stay with them. She later stated Lyle confessed to her father that his father was sexually abusing him. Van der Molen claimed to have told Kitty that Lyle had said, but also claimed Kitty sided with her husband and said Lyle was lying. Van der Molen recalls that afterward, Kitty put Lyle upstairs, and that was the last Van der Molen heard of the claim. The brothers have claimed that their father stopped abusing Lyle when he was 8 and started abusing Erik, who was 6 at the time. Jose became an executive of Hertz Global Holdings and later RCA Records. In 1986, the family moved to Beverly Hills, California, where he was appointed as the CEO of Artisan Entertainment. The following year, Erik attended Beverly Hills. Lyle attended Princeton University, where he was placed on academic probation for poor grades and eventually suspended for plagiarism. On the evening of August 20, 1989, Jose and Kitty were watching television in the den of their Beverly Hills mansion while Lyle and Erik entered the den, carrying Mossberg 12-gauge shotguns. Jose was shot 6 times, including a fatal shot in the back of his head. Kitty was shot 10 times in total. Before the fatal shot to her cheek, she was on the ground, crawling away. Lyle ran to his car to reload before firing the fatal shot to her face. Immediately after the killings, both brothers remained in the house expecting the police to respond due to the noise of the gunshots. When the police arrived, the brothers told them that the killings had occurred while they were at a movie theater watching Batman and attended the Taste of LA festivals at the Santa Monica Civic Auditorium. The police did not seek gunshot residue tests from the brothers. In the months after the killings, the brothers began to spend lavishly on luxury items, businesses, and travel. Lyle bought Chuck's Springs State Cafe, a buffalo wing restaurant in Princeton, New Jersey, as well as a Rolex watch and a Porsche Carrera. Erik hired a full-time tennis coach and competed in a series of tournaments in Israel. The brothers eventually left the Beverly Hills mansion unoccupied, choosing to live in adjoining condominiums in nearby Marina del Rey. They also dined expensively and took overseas trips to the Caribbean and London. Collectively, they spent approximately 700,000 US dollars before their arrests. Family members later disputed a connection between their spending and the murder of their parents, claiming that there were no changes in their spending habits after the killings. During the early stages of the investigation, police tried to narrow their search to the suspects who had motives to kill Jose and Kitty, and also investigated potential mob leads. As the investigation continued, they began to suspect the brothers, who were the most likely perpetrators due to the obvious financial motive. As the investigation continued, they began to suspect the brothers, who were the most likely perpetrators due to the obvious financial motive and their exorbitant spending after the killings. In an attempt to get a confession from ERIK, police arranged for his friend Craig Signorelli to wear a wire during a lunch with ERIK at a local beachfront restaurant. When Signorelli asked ERIK whether he had killed his parents, ERIK denied it. ERIK eventually confessed to his psychologist, Jerome Ozil, who had told his mistress, Judalon Smith. Ozil later broke up with Smith, and in a fit of rage after, she told the police about the brothers' involvement. Lyle was arrested on March 8, 1990, and ERIK turned himself in 3 days later after returning to Los Angeles from Israel. Both were held without bail and jailed separately. In August 1990, Judge James Albrecht ruled that the tapes of the conversation between ERIK and Ozil were admissible evidence. Albrecht's ruling was appealed, after which the proceedings were delayed for 2 years. The Supreme Court ruled in August 1992 that most of the tapes were admissible, with the exception of the tape on which ERIK discussed the murders. After that decision, in December 1992, charging the brothers with the murders of their parents. The Menendez case became a worldwide sensation. Represented by their defense lawyer, Leslie Abramson, the two brothers stated that they had killed their parents out of fear for their lives after a lifetime of abuse at the hands of their parents, especially at the hands of their father, who was described as a cruel perfectionist and pedophile. Meanwhile, their mother was described as an enabling, selfish, mentally unstable alcoholic and drug addict who encouraged her husband's behavior and was also violent towards the brothers. The allegations against the couple were supported by the testimony of two family members. The brother's cousin, Andy Cano, said that as a child, ERIK told him about the sexual abuse, which they both described as penis messages. End of quote. Diane Vander Molen, another cousin of the brothers, stated that she once told Kitty about Jose's molestation of Lyle, although Kitty told her that it was false. As physical evidence, the defense presented a photograph of Lyle and ERIK's genitalia, allegedly taken by their father when they were children. The prosecution argued that the killings were done for financial gain. This theory was disputed by the defense team, which claimed that the brothers did not think they were getting an inheritance. Lyle's prosecutor, Pam Bozanich, argued that, quote, men could not be because they lack the necessary equipment to be, end of quote. ERIK testified a couple of weeks before the night of the killings. He told his brother about the sexual abuse he was experiencing, which led to several confrontations within the family. The brothers also testified that their father threatened to kill them if they did not keep the abuse secret. They claimed the last confrontation happened inside their home then on August 20th, 1989, a few minutes before Kitty and Jose were killed. The brothers stated that their father closed the den's door, which was unusual. Paranoid and afraid that they would be killed by their own parents, Lyle and Kyle went outside to load their shotguns. ERIK stated, quote, "As I went into the room, I just started firing," end of quote. The trial ended with 2 deadlocked juries. As a result, Los Angeles County District Attorney Gil Gassetti immediately announced that the brothers would be retried. The second trial was somewhat less publicized, in part because Judge Stanley Weisbach did not allow cameras in the courtroom. During the second trial, Weisbach, relying upon a legal decision by the Supreme Court in an unrelated case, limited testimony about the sexual abuse claims and only allowed the jury to vote manslaughter charges for the father but do not for the mother. Both brothers were eventually convicted of 2 accounts of first-degree and conspiracy to murder. In the penalty phase of the trial, they were sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. However, unlike the juries in the previous trials, the jury in the penalty phase rejected the defense's theory that the brothers killed their parents out of fear and believed that they committed the killings in order to inherit their father's wealth. Both brothers also filed motions for a mistrial, claiming that they suffered irreversible damage in the penalty phase as a result of possible misconduct and ineffective representation by Abramson. Weisbach sentenced the brothers to life in prison without the possibility of parole, to be served as consecutive sentences for the killings and the charges of conspiracy to commit murder. As in their pre-trial detention, the California Department of Corrections separated the brothers. They remained in separate prisons until February 2018, when Lyle was moved from ERIK State Prison to the Richard J. Donovan Correctional Facility, where they were housed in separate units. On April 4, 2018, Lyle was moved into the same building as ERIK, reuniting them for the first time since they began serving their sentences nearly 22 years earlier. The brothers burst into tears and hugged each other during the first time meeting in the housing unit. The unit where they are housed is reserved for inmates who agree to participate in education without creating disruptions. On February 27, 1998, the California Court of Appeal upheld the brothers' murder convictions, and on May 28, 1998, the Supreme Court of California declined to review the case, thus allowing the decision of the appellate court to stand. Both brothers, having exhausted their appeal remedies in state court, they filed separate habeas corpus petitions. On March 4, 2003, a magistrate judge recommended the denial of the petitions. The brothers then decided to appeal to the United Courts of Appeal for the Ninth Circuit on September 7th. In May 2023, the brothers requested a new hearing by the filing documents, which were based on newly discovered evidence which allegedly proves that their father had also molested boy band member Roy Rosello. Specifically, on April 18, 2023, on a segment of the Today Show about a television document, Rosello stated that when he was 14 years old, he was drugged and raped by Jose Menendez while he was visiting the Menendez homes in New Jersey. In November 2003, Lyle married Rebecca Sneed at a party ceremony in a visiting area of Mule Creek State Prison. They'd known each other for about 10 years. On June 12, 1999, ERIK married Tammy Ruth Sackerman at Folsom State Prison in a prison waiting room. Tammy later stated, "Our wedding cake was a Twinkie. We improvised. It was a wonderful ceremony until I had to leave. That was a very lonely night." End of quote. In an October 2005 interview with ABC News, she described her relationship with ERIK, quote, as something that I've dreamed about for a long time. And it's just something very special that I never thought that I would ever have, end of quote. In 2005, Zuckerman self-published a book titled "They Said We'd Never Make It: My Life with ERIK Menendez." But she said on CNN's Larry King Live that ERIK also, quote, did a lot of editing on the book, end of quote. In an interview with People's Magazine, she stated, "Not having sex in my life is difficult, but it's not a problem for me. I have to be emotionally attached. My family does not understand. When it started to get serious, some of them just threw up their arms." Sackerman also stated that she and her daughter drove 150 miles, 240 kilometers, every weekend to visit ERIK, and that her daughter refers to him as her Earth Dad. Discussing his life sentence, ERIK stated, "Tammy is what gets me through. I can't think about the sentence. When I do it with a great sadness and a primal fear. I break into a cold sweat. It's so frightening, I just haven't come to terms with it." End of quotes.